And welcome to Windy City Sports Talk. It's your boy, Brandon Combs, along with my guy, Ryan Fitz. As you guys can see on the screen right now, we will be with Tripod Media and Illinois Media School and X-Bomb Sports, no substitute for sports, and Blow the Whistle. We'll be at Dave & Buster's in Rosemont Thursday, April 25th at 6 p.m. for the NFL Draft. Full round one draft coverage. You have Q&A with the hosts. We'll have raffles. We'll have giveaways. We'll have much more. It's going to be a blast, Fitzy.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. I really am. It's going to be a fun event. Glad to be partnering. Flattered, actually, to be partnering with all those people. Can I not swear for 3 hours? We're going to see.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out really quickly. It's I believe it's a $50,000 FCC fine. So
change.
I mean, just bring your wallet and you'll be fine. I mean, jump change.
We're bringing in that much weekly for the show. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I said 55,000, not 55 cents. So
yeah, gonna be
quite
a
the same.
Time,
it's gonna be a blast, man.
Everybody should come out. Like, it's gonna be so much fun. So
yeah, if you got a chance and you're in the Chicagoland area and you want to make the trip up to Rosemont, definitely join us at Dave & Buster's. It'll be a great night. The boys from Blow the Whistle, man, they do an excellent job over there. We have my guy Tyler Buterball, who we had on the show a couple weeks ago. He's a producer over at 670 The Score, produces for the Cubs and the Bulls on 670. We've got David Dykstra, who is a producer over at BetQL. You've got my guy Nick Johnston, who I do a show with. He is also starting to work with them.
Our show.
Yeah, we've got there's going to be a lot of people there. We're going to have a full TV camera, full production.
People will come, Ray.
People will come.
People will come. People will come. You guys are making 55 cents. No, we're not. We're not making 55 cents. I mean, if you want to become a subscriber, we can make this a subscription only show if you'd like, Jeremiah.
We're making a small percentage of that 55%. Just cents.
Yeah. What's 55 times 0? That's what we make. 55 times 0.
Tough.
We love doing it. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
No. Southside, stand up.
Now sit down.
I see you're wearing your Southside jersey today.
Yeah. Well, I'm still a Southsider at heart. I mean,
it's not too embarrassing, or
when you're riding the dumpster fire, you might as well just keep going, I guess. I mean, I still find ways to watch. I mean, you're the one that's kind of nursed me through being a fan. I root for some of the players. I mean, Sheets looks like he could be a good player. And this is a guy who's taken years to get better and better. And, he had a great rookie season, then had a couple of seasons where he sucks. So that's something to root for. I mean, Crochet had a bad inning, but he still looks great. So that's what you do. And the youth is starting to come up. Like, let's start bringing the guys up. I don't care. Let's call it September call-ups in April.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that.
Bring guys up. Like Colson Montgomery has 2 home runs in his last 2 games. Eddie Quaro has 3 home runs in his last 2 games. He's the catcher they got for Giolito, who's now out for the season. But anyway, yeah. So
yeah, I mean, look, it's
with the Cubs, but here we go.
I was gonna try, but you kind of went off on a tangent, so we're just gonna let you go.
You can't fucking help yourself.
Look, you were the one starting off on a tangent. I don't know what to tell you. All I said was, I see you're wearing your Southside jersey.
Yes, exactly.
And then you just took that and ran.
I didn't say anything. Ladies and gentlemen, 24. Representing the Chicago White Sox, the milkshake. And it looks like a great milkshake. I did not get it, but that might actually be it.
The rumor is, and I heard this today, is that they keep selling out the milkshake. They're not producing enough material to even have the milkshake. So here's my question for you. Can the milkshake really make it to the All-Star game? And I heard that today too, on 670, Jeremiah. If the White Sox, and this was my question when they said it, can the milkshake really make it to the All-Star game for the White Sox if it's underperforming too?
Yeah,
even the milkshake is underperforming.
A town that was known for cows for like 100 years doesn't have enough milk. I guess not enough milk.
Yeah,
not enough.
I see. We've got some Facebook users again. So for all you Facebook users, a lot of times that happens on the Dads with Bacon account, which is fine. Just click on the link that says we're going live using StreamYard. It's going to ask you for permission to use your Facebook, and then we can actually see your name, so we can give you credit for your comments. We love talking with all of our commenters in the chat. So definitely just all you got to do is click that link, and it'll give you permission to use it. Shanna did it as well over on Dads with Bacon. It's really simple. Just go ahead, click that, and then we can put a face to the comments. Shanna says, "Hey guys, enjoying my almost 90-degree day. It was 80 here in Chicago. I've spent my weekend eating edibles to get through the White Sox."
Stay off the weed,
or get on it. I mean,
you're gonna have to. In here, and I see in the background, I got the White Sox pregame show on. Ozzy is very demonstrative right now. I don't know what he's yelling about. It's before the game. It's not even after the game yet. And Ozzy is already going off on a rant.
It's when Frank Thomas is on. Also, it's one of the better post game shows. Just because of how bad they are. Yeah, Chris Getz. We're gonna get into him. Do we just go right to Fitzgiberish?
Let's just go. Let's go. Go ahead. We'll get to Cubs after. Go ahead. Let's do it.
Are you sure?
I told you this happened. No, this happens I told you this earlier. We got to start White Sox. No matter how much we want to talk Cubs, the White Sox find a way to be the story.
They're just so bad. Yes, it's Fitzgiberish. It's a diatribe. It's conspiracy theory, and it's an island in the middle of unapologetic and sometimes inaccurate sports talk. I think we did okay, but we're only 5 minutes into the show. The team with the worst offense in Major League Baseball is the worst team in baseball as well. And it isn't even that close. Oh, yes, the White Sox took that mantle from the Marlins over the weekend in embarrassing fashion. They lost a combined 27-5 in their 3-game series with Cincinnati. And Cincinnati's good, but they're not that good. I mean, I don't think they're that good. They'll be good. They got some young players, but they're not that good. And the problem isn't that they're bad. And that's the Sox I'm talking about now. This is Chicago. We come in with built-in excuses for our teams. Like a fat kid getting caught with condoms on prom night by his date's dad. Excuses are never good, but sometimes teams are just going to be bad for a while. Which is true. Sometimes teams are going to be bad. Maybe not the Dodgers, but some teams in Chicago anyway. That is something all Chicago sports fans are used to. No, it's not that this team is bad. It's that they're so goddamn stupid. They're like that same fat kid with chocolate all over his face who tells you he didn't raid the cookie jar. I should know. I am that fat kid.
I was just going to say, how'd you know I was eating cookies?
Anyway, they're dumb and they think we don't notice it. Exhibit A. Our favorite punching bag, Jerry Reinsdorf, said this past offseason he was hiring Chris Getz because he owed it, quote unquote, owed it to the fans to get this.
Oh, no.
He owed it to the fans. When he owes people stuff, he pays up. Yeah, right. To get this team winning again as soon as possible. You're 88, Jer. What the hell are you waiting for? Valhalla?
Southside, stand up.
He's on fire over there today. Exhibit B. The aforementioned Chris Getz sang in a Tribune article just this past week, or I think weekend, that he thinks the White Sox team is headed in the right direction.
Well played, you son of a bitch.
Where to, Chris? Getting its face ripped off by a sadistic demon? I'll enter in a quote from my brother John. My brother John makes it into another Fitzgiberish. Didn't think that was going to happen. When I sent him this article, as long with you, Brandon, he said, seriously, it boggles my mind that these GMs think the fans are just a bunch of lemming retards. Period. Jag off.
Oh,
Exhibits.
no.
Yes. Pedro Grafal, Exhibit C. The man is afraid of his own shadow, or a fat kid who eats too many cookies. I think he actually has an idea that he can't argue calls. Ozzie Guillen, and I tried to find the video, but I think they're scrubbing the internet, was screaming on Saturday that he doesn't stand up for his players enough to at least show that. And the Sox have been on the bad end, on the end of some bad calls, even though they probably would have lost those games anyway. But to make it even worse, when pushed on whether he's going to see the eclipse last Monday. Was it last Monday? Whatever. It was one of those days. Yeah, it was last Monday. Grafal was oddly animate about not witnessing history. I'll see videos of it, see what it looks like, Grafal said. But there's baseball. I probably shouldn't say that, but family and baseball. People don't believe it, but I live it. That's all that matters. Do you think we believe you? And later on, what did Pedro do? He went out and looked at the damn eclipse. Look, White Sox. I know you're not listening, and if you were, you wouldn't care. But you could be a lot of things. You could be bad. Sports are hard, especially baseball. But please, stop being stupid. That's Fitzgiberish. Combs.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Be sure we lost a few listeners with that Fitzgiberish. But I mean, it really, I think a lot of fans do it. I think a lot of fans, a lot of organizations do it, and it never works. It always backfires on them. I always respected Theo Epstein and even Rick Hahn when they went through the rebuild. They didn't lie to fans. They said, we're going to be bad for a while by design. And we're going to pick up some talent. We're going to do this right. We're going to build it up, and we're going to build it to last. Now,
yeah,
the Sox never lasted, but
it's like
they at least went to 2 playoffs in a row. So
that's fair. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about the White Sox anymore. I really don't. It's really, really bad. And it's, it's just embarrassing, man. It really is. It's just embarrassing. And the White Sox are that team that you're just like, you look at it and you're like, wow, the Oakland A's have won 6 out of 7.
Yeah.
The Oakland A's, who are, really probably the worst franchise in baseball, have won 6 out of 7. And
they're not
that's
even
bad.
trying to win. Yeah.
No, they're not trying to win. And so I don't see it getting any better. Again, the milkshake is the only reason to go to that ballpark right now. And
it's
not even a good reason anymore because you might not get it.
Yeah, they got some decent news. Luis Roberts going to be back, should be back by the end of May. They thought after the All-Star break, and then they thought Moncada was out.
Do you know how many injuries Luis Robert has had since 2019?
No, but I think you're going to tell me.
He has now had 20 injuries. You know how many of those 20 injuries have been the same injury? Only 4.
Yeah,
so great. You're gonna get Luis Robert back in May. How long until you lose him again? Same with the thing with Eloy Jimenez today. How long until he's hurt again? Same thing when you get Yohan Moncada back. How long till he's hurt again? And does he even want to play baseball?
Yeah, it's just crazy. I thought Luis Robert, I thought we could have been past some of the stuff. Hopefully he still plays 100 games this season. It's possible. It might not be probable, but it's possible. I thought we were past some of these injuries, which happens to a lot of young players that aren't ready to play a full season. They get hurt, whatever. But I saw the stat the other day. Since 2020, Eloy Jimenez has missed 240 games. That's 43% of the games he could have played. I won't say Grandali's not on the team anymore. Luis Robert, 183. That's 32%. Tim Anderson, not on the team, but still 172 games he's missed. That's 31%. Yohan Moncada, 154. That's 27%. And he's obviously going to miss a lot more here, at least 60 games, probably more.
It's just wild.
Most from running to first base.
Yeah, look, here, watch. I actually have the clip. Here we go.
Robert Jr. lines this one to left, and it gets down. It'll go all the way to the wall. Oh, no. Robert comes up gimpy.
Gimpy. What is he in Pulp Fiction?
It's so bad.
Yeah, and I even said, like, I don't care. We have a podcast. We get to do this here. Could this be any kind of performance enhancing drugs? Because, and you said, no, that would help with these injuries. Yeah, sometimes it does. But look at how big that guy is. When you have your muscles are outstripping your tendons, some of your smaller muscles, sometimes you get injuries like this, meaning that you're way too strong for your body frame because you're abnormally muscular. But there's got to be an explanation. What else is the explanation? What other explanations do we have?
There are no other explanations. They can't stay healthy.
With Eloy, I could say that he looks overweight. But with Luis Robert and Tim Anderson, these guys are like built like. Is it possible to have anger and apathy at the same time, Jer? I think you can have anger that you have apathy, but I don't know if you could do it at the same time. The milkshakes brings all the boys to the yard, and they get traded for cash considerations. Well, you got Nick Nastrini. They're sending out there tonight.
He's going to be the one that gets traded for cash considerations.
Yeah, possibly. That could mean either Soroka or Flexen are done. I don't know, but he looked good in spring training. He had some good years in the minors, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I don't know what else to do here.
It's I don't know. It's sad. Like you look at what they've done there, and there's just nothing. There's no reason to be excited about White Sox baseball. There's no reason for me to be like, you know what? I'm going to go catch this game tonight.
Maybe a Garrett Crochet.
Maybe. But what does that do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm flabbergasted. I'm aggravated about it too. Like it's really, really bad. Like I like going to that ballpark. I like going there. Yep. They've got great food. I like going to watch good baseball, but there's just, 2-13 is epically bad. You know what they need? They need to find an old Hoss Radborn. Do you know who old Hoss Radborn is?
No, but I think
let me show you old Hoss Radborn. I'm going to show you. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to show you. Old Hoss Radborn is a pitcher from the 1800s who played for the Cleveland Spiders, the team that you guessed it. He didn't play on the team. He played right before they were that bad, but they were 20 and 134. Before they were 20 and 134, they were 19 and 93. But Old Hoss Radbourn, when he was on the team, would have had none of that. This man was 310 and 194 in his career with a 2.6 ERA.
Damn.
4,527 innings pitched. This man in 1884 went 60 and 12 with a 1.38 ERA. He started 73 games and he completed 73 games. 678 and 2/3 innings pitched that season.
Jesus.
441 strikeouts.
Right?
Why do we call it the Cy Young Award and not the Old Hoss Award?
Because Cy Young had like 511 victories. That's never gonna get beat, by the way.
I get, but he was not Old Hoss Radbourn. He never won 60. He wasn't even Al Spalding, who averaged 40 a year for a decade.
Old Hoss Radbourn?
Old Hoss Radbourn, 60 and 12, sir. With a 1.38 ERA, 441 strikeouts that year. That's like how many times Eloy Jimenez is going to strike out this year.
He sounds like the guy. He sounds like he's doing. I mean, if you said, okay, there's this baseball player from 1880, I'm sure somebody would be. Was his name Old Hoss Radbourn?
Old Hoss Radbourn.
If you were writing a book about a baseball player from 1880s, you might come up with this name.
He is buried in Evergreen Memorial Cemetery, right in Bloomington, Illinois.
All right, there we go. Illinois native.
He would have played for that team, that the worst team. They might have been able to call him back up at the ripe age of 43.
Why not?
And died the year before.
Did he die on the mound?
Why? No, I have no clue how he died, but that guy was amazing. Absolutely, positively amazing.
People 60 and 12.
Not only was he 60 and 12 that year, but heading into September, they had a pitcher who they took out in the 7th inning, and he was just as good as Old Hoss Radbourn. They took him out in the 7th inning. The guy walked off the mound and was never seen again. He quit the team because he got taken out. So Old Hoss Radbourn said, "You know what? I'll put you guys on my shoulders." The Spiders went on to win 18 games in a row. The winning pitcher in all 18 games was Old Hoss Radbourn. He pitched 19 straight games to end the season, and went 18 and 1 to end the season.
What the hell?
This man is a legend.
Was he? Wait. Did he look like Bugs Bunny? Did he play every position as well?
Did he look like Bugs Bunny? No, I'm gonna. You know what he looked like?
This Generation Z, they don't even want to leave the house. They have so much anxiety, and you got this guy pitching in 19 games in a row.
Yeah, yes. Here's what Old Hoss Radbourn looked like. I'm gonna pull up this photo and show it to you.
Grab your favorite girl and your lucky strikes, and come root for Old Hoss Radbourn.
Oh God, I'm trying to find a photo of him that signifies who he. Yeah, there we go.
Well, that might happen for the Sox this year. They need Garrett Crochet to pitch every inning. Pretty well. The pitching, I mean, their starting pitching hasn't been terrible. It's more than they're hitting, but having him, even if he pitched every inning and if he could do it,
here's Old Hoss Radbourn, the first pitcher to flip the bird.
Look at that mustache.
Look at him flip the bird.
Holy cow! Old Ross. What the hell? How many hookers do you think he murdered?
At least 12.
He's traveling from town to town. You can't start a relationship, right?
Yeah,
you gotta get out there.
It's something. And I don't know,
And sidebar. Can I say dead hookers at Dave and Buster's in a week and a half?
Probably not. Probably not a good idea.
Let's steer away from that. All right. Good.
Yeah. I mean, I have to see all these guys the next day.
Let me
and I
note
have to
that.
answer for you. So yeah, it's probably
Noted,
not a good
duly
idea.
noted.
Duly noted.
But we can move on. I mean, Nick Nastrini tonight, that's a reason to watch, but let's move on. Let's move on to
The
I think
Royals.
the headliner
Do the
story.
Royals sweep again?
I don't think so. You did say, are they for real? I mean, they're better than I thought they would be, but who knows? They could lose 100 games still, the Royals, but I don't think they're going to.
It's early.
There seems to be there's a lot of teams that have pretty good pitching, but guys who haven't pitched more than 80 to 100 innings. What led you to that, Combs? Just wondering how you ran into Haas.
I have a sickness, and it's a sports sickness, and
story.
I went down to a rabbit hole
Yes,
because
you
I'm
do.
in a group that is we are drafting an all-time Major League Baseball team. You have to have 6 deceased players, 6 retired players, and 6 active players on your roster. And so I was looking for, the best deceased players, and one of my buddies over at Ultimate Autograph said, "Have you ever heard of Old Hoss Radbourne?" I said, "Who?" He said, "Old Hoss Radbourne." And then he showed me this video of this guy on YouTube who does all of these baseball videos, who now I am like the biggest fan of, and I will go down a rabbit hole. And I went down that rabbit hole and I found Old Hoss Radbourne. And it's not just Old Hoss Radbourne I found. Look up Al Spalding. The man pitched from 1870 to 1880, and he averaged 40 wins a season. He pitched He pitched 1870 to 1871 to 1877. 6 years he pitched in the league. He won 240 or 251 games. I don't
admit you just like the name Old Hoss Radbourne.
That's true.
Did he have
this
any
activity
kids?
definitely comes with a pocket protector.
Yeah.
No, just no life. I mean, it's just what I do. I like to get in on these random drafts that we do that have different categories, and I have a sickness. I don't deny it.
Stop that.
I have a sickness. I'm down with the sickness.
What's happening here? We no longer. I don't even know if this is a sports show anymore, but
we just talked about Old Hoss Radbourne. What do you mean you don't know if it's a sports show? We just talked about a pitcher from 1884.
Was it a sport back then?
Was it a sport back? Who are you?
Kinda was. I mean, can you imagine the baseball back then? They weren't like they are now.
I don't know how to answer this.
The next comment, or
no? Are we a sports show? So I thought I was on your show, but I wasn't. There's another Windy City Sports Talk with the same logo. No, there's not.
Like, what the hell is wrong with him?
There's no.
Dad, you really ought to drink more.
Daddy, stop. Come on, Buck.
He said, "P.S. Go Royals, Fitz, F your socks."
Fuck you. Say it now. Speaking of dead hookers, I'm going to shove a few in the trunk of your car and call the cops on you, Buck.
Hey, I fucked your dad.
And he loved it. I don't know if that gets a rum shot. I don't know.
What is going on right now?
I don't. Oh, you started it with Old Hoss Radbourne. All the fans in attendance in 3-piece suits. Yeah, exactly. Sweating their asses off.
Yeah. Look, so the Cubs. Let's move over to the Cubs.
Yes, let's do it.
Buck said, "Wouldn't be the first time I had a dead hooker in the car."
Wow. Call the cops.
I've never seen so many dead hookers in my life, says Jeremiah.
Call them up.
The Royals are going to be hanging out with the dead hookers later, says Shannon.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So look, the Cubs in a much
How do
different
you
position.
segue from that.
I don't know, but we're gonna try. Cubs are in a different position than the White Sox. They're on the West Coast. Last week had a rough week. Blew that 8-run lead to the Padres, but then rebounded. Won the next day 5-1. Should have won on Wednesday as well, but lost that game. So they end up losing 2 out of 3. But then they lose on Friday to the Seattle Mariners.
The Mariners, yep.
And then they win Saturday and Sunday to take 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
so they are now
game.
3-3 on the West Coast road trip.
Yep.
Yeah, very good game. 3-3 on the West Coast road trip. And now they head to Arizona, team that was in the World Series last year, the National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks. Not an easy task. We knew the April schedule was tough. That is the ugliest Cubs hat. Buck, I will punch you in your throat.
Stab him.
So, Jesus Christ. Get Cindy and the kids out. I'm coming to burn your house down.
No, we'll just slowly. What we'll do is we'll slowly give them trans fats. We'll inject it into all this food, and at the same time, we'll both study to become heart surgeons. And right when he has his first heart attack, we'll become heart surgeons. And when he's on the table right before he falls asleep, we'll be sharpening the knives. It's a long game. But I think it'll work.
So Seiya Suzuki goes to the IL. Canario called up. Alex Dreyer, what's going on, buddy? Nice to see you here on Combs and Fitz as opposed to Ultimate Autographs. So we got a fan joining us from met Alex through Ultimate Autographs, and he's becoming a fan of the show. So welcome and appreciate you chiming in. Yeah, with Seiya going to the IL, it's going to be tough. I don't know how this lineup rebounds, how they're going to play this. Is Canario going to come up as hot as he was in spring training? Are they going to be the same lineup without Seiya Suzuki? I mean, my head tells me no, because Seiya was really tearing it up so far this season. But if Canario can be half of that, could help out a lot. I think you're going to see more Miles Mastrobuoni in the lineup, unfortunately, playing right field. Don't want to see that. But crazy. It's crazy. But I think the Cubs' biggest problem, though, is the bullpen. I just the bullpen has been the Achilles heel all season so far. Right? Hector Neris has not lived up to what he has been. The velocity is down from Hector Neris. You're not seeing him hit his spots. He was missing really bad yesterday. He got bailed out by some good defense there in the 8th inning with a double play ball. And so, it was a great play.
Where they were going to lose it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Albert Alzolay seems to be turning it around. He wins the game yesterday with a pickoff throw. That was pretty cool to watch. Cool. Yeah. Here's something I can agree with Buck on. He's like, Kyle Hendricks stop sucking this year. He's kind of hurting my fantasy team. Buck, I would get him off your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Because they're going to either find an injury for him to go to the IL with, or they're going to DFA him. Because you got Tyon coming back, you've still got Steele coming back, and there's just going to be no room for him. The way that Ben Brown has been throwing, he's going to throw again tonight. The way Ben Brown has been throwing, the way that Javier Assad and Jordan Wicks have all been throwing, they're not.
Maybe you let them, they're going to need innings in the back end of the year.
DFA means designate for assignment, Buck. Designate for assignment.
Come on, Buck. You can go farther than the NFL. There's other sports out there. But
he's a Royals fan. What do you expect?
They might need guys on the back end of the season, because you got Jordan Wicks, you got I'm not I don't know. I don't think Assad's thrown over 100 innings, and this is what I was kind of getting at. I mean, even the Sox are doing it with Crochet, where these guys have never pitched this many innings. They're not going to pitch 180 innings. It's just not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
So maybe you need a guy on the back end, and maybe he, somehow, like you said, he's on this and he figures something out. So later in the season, you can use him as long relief. That's the only way I see it happen. What was happening? You can't let a guy keep playing the way he was pitching.
Yeah,
Right.
and Alex Ryder says Cooper's at DH tonight talking right field. No, you can't allow him to. I'm done seeing him in the rotation. Look, I love Kyle Hendricks. I'm just done seeing him in the rotation.
So
I don't want to see him start.
Favorite Cubs players of all time.
You let him
Sure.
you let him go for go find something on the 30-day IL, and then maybe you bring him back to be something out of the bullpen. Where he can be maybe a little bit of help for an inning here and there. But he's one of those guys too. I think his game's been hurt by the pitch clock. And I don't mean hurt as in, the pitch clock is causing him injury. No, I think the pitch clock hurts his game because he's a guy who needs to hit his spots. He's a guy who needs time. He doesn't bring any velocity. He's just a Greg Maddux type, hit my spots, paint the corners type guy. And you need to take your time and be precise. That's why they always called him the surgeon, because he's very precise with what he's doing.
No, I get you. Not a lot of guys who pitch the way he can do it quickly. I mean, Mark Burley was an aberration. He went very quickly. He has a lot of games that were under 2 hours, but not a lot of guys can do that. Not a lot of guys with that trust. And it's a thinking man sport, like it is. And that's another thing about the pitch clock. I think it's and I burped, and I think it's too short. I really do. I think they need more time. But it is what it is. It's here. And he could really have an injury. A lot of these guys do. That was going to be one of my questions for tonight's show. Are any of these guys injured? Do you think? Yan Gomes, we just talked about Bellinger or Nico Horner. Are any of those 4 players hurt in your mind? They're all batting under 200 right now.
I think Nico's been hitting
and the last hit Bellinger had was an infield single.
Yeah, I think Nico's hitting into some bad luck right now. I think he's been hitting the ball hard for probably the last week and a half, hitting the ball hard and just not getting the luck. He's just hitting it right at people. Belly, look, it's a little concerning, but it's still early, man.
To work through injuries and then not play good.
Yeah.
But it's still early, and it's been cool. They had some games in Chicago where it was cold.
Yeah, and it was cold in Seattle this weekend too. I mean, they were wearing jackets there and everything, so it's been cooler. The weather heats up, the bats heat up. If come May 15th, May, end of May, middle of May, if these guys are still hitting in the 200 area, I might have some more concerns, more questions about what we're doing with the bullpen, what we're doing with the lineup, where we're going to go. But if the Cubs are at that point with these guys, I think they're in a lot worse position than we expect them to be in this division, because this division's been surprisingly really good to start the season.
Buck says it's here. I think he's talking about the pitch clock, but he thinks it's going away. Do you see that happening?
No,
I don't think so. I think it's here to stay. It's the way, unfortunately, Buck. I mean, actually, the pitch clock is the one I like the best about all the new rules. I think they should still be shifting.
Yeah,
it's not basketball. It's a giant field. Hit the fucking ball, moron.
He says it's going away once Commish Combs takes over.
Once Commish Combs takes over. But
I would probably keep the pitch clock, but I would lengthen. I would extend the amount of time the pitch clock is.
Yeah.
What do they got now? 10 seconds for in between batters.
20.
What is that?
Oh, in between batters.
In between batters, I think it's down to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it's 15 seconds with a runner with nobody on base and 18 seconds with a runner on base. Like it's just, I mean, and look, I'm not one. I know we talked about the pitch clock. I know we talked about, you don't believe that it's causing injuries, but I think that you have to take it into consideration
It's possible.
about it causing injuries, because not only I'm not saying that it's just because they have to hurry up and pitch, they're going to be they're going to get injured or tear a UCL. But when you're changing your mechanics because you're rushing your pitches, that is where it starts to become a problem. And I think that it's certainly a part of why we're seeing so many Tommy John surgeries needed, and top of the line guys too. And I think it's at least certainly a part of it. I'm not saying that it's all of it, but it's certainly a part of it, because a lot of your veterans in this game, they did not come up with the pitch clock. They did not come up using the pitch clock. So you're looking at guys trying to learn new stuff, and you add that on top of all the spin rate stuff that they're doing now, watching spin rates, torque on the arm, all that different stuff. It's definitely a part of the issue. I would lengthen it. I would make it 20 seconds without a runner on base, and I would make it 25 to 30 with a runner on base.
I just don't think the casual fan, that's what this is for. It's for the casual fan. I used to love the rhythm of the game. I could go take a leak, for Christ's sake. I could go get myself a drink.
Go get a milkshake. Did we lose you?
No, I'm still here. I think you were freezing up. But I'm here.
Me?
Yeah, you were frozen for a second, but it could be on my end. But anyway, you the rhythms of the game were different. Like they're sped up now, and it's for the casual fan. And does the casual fan know Fitz was frozen? Yeah.
You got to move your laptop closer to Walmart, Fitz.
Yeah. The
Who keeps bringing it back
up? The casual fan doesn't know all the stuff that has to go into a windup and a pitch. I mean, all the different things. And you talk about mechanics; those are mechanics that they work on, and they change. I mean, Giolito was the worst pitcher in baseball. The next season, he threw a no-hitter and was one of the better pitchers in baseball, because he went through and worked an entire offseason, hundreds of days, to fix his mechanics. And one little problem with anything there, and Giolito has Tommy John surgery. It's going to be his second. Shohei Ohtani, Tommy John surgery, other injuries. There's just so many little parts to everything they do, and they're doing it so quickly. Yeah. You both are married. You both are wrong. And you don't watch 4 games of baseball a week either, Buck.
Shanna says Combs wants the milkshake. I do want the milkshake. You're right. I am actually going to pay for 300 level tickets at a White Sox game to get a milkshake at some point this season. It's happening.
He was angry that I didn't get a milkshake when I went to the game.
Not angry. I was disappointed. Highly disappointed. Because you even went with your son and didn't get the milkshake.
Well, he fell asleep during a game where the Sox, and it might be the only time this year, where the Sox hit 3 home runs and they shoot off fireworks after, and the kid fell asleep.
Did you expect him not to fall asleep at a White Sox game?
There we go.
I mean,
child.
How many times do you watch the White Sox this year and want to fall asleep? Yeah, that's a good question, ain't it? You hate the fact that there's actually an answer to that.
I think if I did fall asleep during a Sox game this year, but I didn't. So not yet.
Shanna said you should have gotten the milkshake. I agree, Shanna.
I
wholeheartedly agree.
You would add weed in there.
That's probably facts too.
But anyway, back to the Cubs.
Specialty milkshake. Specialty marshmallows. Yeah,
I guess. In a way, Yan Gomes, I mean, he's a good catcher, so his doesn't matter as much. I'd be just a little bit more worried, and I think Nico Horner is going to be fine. I mean, he's done it in the past, and so has Bellinger. It's just Bellinger has had some years where he wasn't just bad; he was terrible, and I don't think you can afford that. I'm not sure.
I mean, look. I don't know, I don't know where they're going with the catcher position. I don't know if Miguel Amaya is going to start playing more. I don't know if they're going to stick it out with Yan Gomes. Miguel Amaya is starting to really hit the ball. I like Yan Gomes. I like the platoon there with him and Amaya. I think that the Cubs are going to be just fine. I just think, look, they've run into some really good rotations early. I mean, they played the Dodgers.
They played well in Seattle. I think that's a better team than their record is. They're 6-10 Seattle. I think they'll be better than that. You had them doing well in that division.
I had them winning the division.
And they're not a bad team. Yeah.
So I don't mind what they're at right now. I actually said, 14-16 through 30 games, I'd have been all right with, because of how difficult this schedule shaped up. 14-16 to 16-14, anywhere in that range, I would have been okay with. And they're 9-6 right now, so I'm okay with them being, a 500 team throughout this stretch, because you're playing they've got every team they're playing is a playoff team right now. Even after this stretch, they get the after the Diamondbacks, they do get the Marlins, who are not playing good baseball right now, but they're still a good team. And then after that, they play the Houston Astros, who are always good. Also, right now, not playing good baseball. They've given up the most runs in baseball, 93 runs heading into today. Yeah. It's a lot of runs.
But the Diamondbacks, they're top of the league, I think, in runs scored, or up there at least.
So if you're 14-16 or 16-14 by the end of this stretch, and you're going into that early May series with Milwaukee, with them being, at 19 or 20 wins, 3 games up, and then you take care of business and then you start taking care of business against your division, and that's when you've really got to turn it on.
Sounds like a Cubs fan. I'm okay with being average.
It's not about okay with being average. It's about understanding. It's about understanding.
Schedule
sounds like something Buck would say. It's about understanding where you're at as a organization and what your schedule is, because as an organization, are the Cubs good right now? Is the Cubs lineup good? Yes. Is the Cubs starting rotation good? Yes. Is their bullpen good? No. But you understand that the Cubs are not winning a World Series this year. Should they win the Central? Absolutely. But they're not
more from the starting rotation.
What? The starting rotation has been phenomenal.
Yeah, through 14 games. I need to see some longevity. Some longevity.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to see that until September. You know what I mean? Like, there's just it's just part of it. The good thing about it is how deep this rotation is, because you have your 5. All of a sudden, you don't have room for Drew Smyly. You don't have room for Kyle Hendricks. You still have guys in the
Drew Smyly.
No. I'm not saying that at all. He's been all right so far. I also want
okay.
When it comes to the bullpen, I also want to see Al Leiter Jr. be consistently good. He's been really good to start the season. Really good to start the season. He's been your most consistent pitcher out of the bullpen. He was that way until June last year too. And then, he kept running him out there.
Yeah, going a West Coast trip. Yeah, I mean, I think you asked the question. Even if they're 4-5, I wouldn't call it a success, but I wouldn't call it a failure either on a 9-game road trip out there facing the teams they're facing.
Saying we can be good. The teams we are playing are better. Come on, you're average. You're not going to win the division. First of all, the Brewers don't have enough anything to continue doing what they're doing. They've played a weak schedule.
They have the longevity either.
Yeah, no. They've played a weak schedule in their first 15, 16 games. It's going to be between the Cubs, Reds, and Pirates in this division, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to come down to the Cubs and Reds. The Cubs should win this division. They're the best team in this division. Yeah, I do. I think the Reds are good. When you called them earlier, you said their rotation was mid. I don't know what you're talking about. That Reds rotation is really good.
Again, longevity. I mean, even the guy that pitched yesterday, it doesn't do well, and a lot of pitchers don't the third time through the order, but it doesn't have a lot of innings logged himself. I think it's all right, but it's really early to say that a rotation is good or great. I guess you can call rotation good. from what they've done in the past. But I think we need more time with some of these teams for sure. But the Reds looked really, obviously they killed the Sox. That's not saying much, but the Reds looked okay. I'm not going to say that they're world beaters.
Yeah.
Jeremiah says the Reds don't have pitching to stay in it. They'll have to show me for the whole season. Yeah, or at least part of it season. I mean, I need 60 to 80 games at the very least. I like to have 100 if I can. That's why I've said before on the show, it's what makes it so great. And maybe for the way people are these days and very impatient, but it's hard even to be a baseball fan. It's not only hard to play baseball, it's hard to be a fan because you don't know what's right, what's fool's gold and what's not. Any guy can be good for 60 games. Almost any player can. And then you're like, oh, this is the guy, Gordon Beckham, for 80 games, batted 330, 340, hit the ball with authority and never did it again in his entire career. And he had 8-9 years at least in the majors. So yeah, it's a tough sport, and it's tough to look through these teams and see what is or isn't. And really, with all this young pitching, it makes it even tougher.
The Reds don't have the pitching to stay in it. They'll have to show me for a whole season. Too early to start thinking about trade deadlines? No, I think the Cubs have to make a true a move sooner rather than later, especially for some bullpen arms. They've got to. I know they just called Keegan Thompson up. I saw Alex Dreyer said he wants to see Keegan more. I want to see more of Keegan too. I know he pitched well the other day. He was pitching well this early this year in AAA. I want to see him continue to do those things. I think he can be one of those guys. He could be a pleasant surprise for you out of the bullpen, but they're going to have to go make a move. They're going to have to.
I think so.
Whether it's a guy that's still a free agent, or a guy that you're going to go and make a trade for, it's going to be one of those.
You need a proven guy who, pounds the strike zone.
Got Bush, says Jeremiah Murray, and that's a great point because you know what?
Raking.
Michael Bush has been absolutely phenomenal. And
another good game yesterday.
Yeah, he has been one of those guys who you're just like, wow. And I know Alex Dreyer has been pushing for a home run call for Michael Bush. He wants to call it a Bush latte. I don't know if that's gonna catch on, but Alex Dreyer is trying to make it. Every time he hits one, he texts me and says Bush latte. I don't know if that's gonna catch on, but I mean, if Southside stand up can catch on, anything's possible.
It hasn't catched on.
I mean, he says it. And did you just say catched?
It is not caught on. You heard what I said. You just be
a professional, sir.
You just read a comment that I just read. So back it up. We read a comment. We got Jeremiah's comment twice. So let's just
because I wanted to read it the right way.
Okay. Here we go. So Michael Bush.
Yeah, no, Michael Bush has been a very pleasant surprise. He has been one of those guys that he hits a home run. It was 4 straight games now with a home run for Michael Bush. So he's been a very pleasant surprise. I like what I've seen from him so far, and I think that you're going to continue to see it. I think he's everything he was touted to be from the Dodgers. They just didn't have any room for him. With all the guys that were ahead of him in their organization, with all the moves that they made this offseason, they just didn't have room for him. So he became an expendable piece, and much to the happiness and delight of the Cubs, he became their piece. And I think we're going to be happy with Michael Bush as Cubs fans moving forward, because you're going to watch this guy and he's just going to continue to get better and better and better, which is the scary part for the opposition. Is that this kid's still learning and he's still getting better every single day. And so it's going to be fun to watch him all season long.
Did you want to see somebody else come up when Seiya went down? Maybe like a Pete Crow or
So
know.
that was my first thought when they brought up Canary. I said, wow, they didn't bring up Pico. Pico's been struggling at AAA.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's been struggling at AAA, so I think they're going to give him a little bit more time down there. And I was okay. Like I'm more of looking forward to seeing some of the pitching help come up from AAA. I want to see some of those guys as the season progresses. I want to see how this is going to shape up. I didn't understand the addition of Julio Teheran, who's been released a couple of times over the last couple of years. Maybe some pitching depth there. Maybe he's going to be one of those guys coming out of the pen. I'm not quite sure what that move was. Just a depth piece. I don't love it. I don't necessarily hate it either. I'm kind of indifferent. I want to see how it plays out, what they end up doing with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you got a few guys. What is it? Alcantara.
Alcantara.
As well.
Yeah.
Alcantara. He's out there. I don't think he's ready or old enough. I don't think he's been in the minors long enough, but isn't Garrett Cooper a better fielder though?
No. Michael Busch he'll get better and better defensively. Garrett Cooper is a DH, and Garrett Cooper should be a DH. I'd like to see his bat in the lineup a little bit more. I've been very happy. Like over the weekend, I was really happy with Chris Morel's glove over at third base. I was happy to see him. He made like 3 or 4 beautiful plays this weekend out in Seattle. Really happy to see his progress as a defender. And so I'm really I'm happy with where the Cubs are at. Like I'm going to, obviously there was a game in San Diego. They could have won. They could be 10-5 instead of 9-6. That, would have made them tied for the division with the Brewers instead of being a game out. But
you're not scoreboard watching yet, so
no. But I'm just saying, like when you start talking about stuff like that, because it does give you a little bit more perception. Like Buck was saying earlier, oh, the Brewers are going to win that division. It gives you a different perception if you're looking at it at this point, and the Cubs are 10-5 or 11-4 as opposed to the 9-6 that they are.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it doesn't matter. They stay around 500 with the schedule the way it is. They do. You're right. They do have some tough people. You don't, go down the tubes. You're not going to win it in April. I mean, the Sox have showed you could lose it. I think a lot of people have said that before, but you're not going to win it in April anyway. Just keep your powder dry. Looks like a good enough team to win this division for sure.
Yeah.
Just be happy you're not in the NL East. I mean, I know people talk about the West, but that Atlanta team is going to be really good for years.
Are the Cubs an 80 team win?
They won 83 last year.
Yeah, they're an 87 win team.
They imploded in the end.
It's a better question to be. It's a better question if they're a 90 win team this year. We're going to see. I mean, it's going to transpire as the year goes on. They've got to stay healthy. There's a lot of things that got to come right. They've got to fix.
Don't let them run to first base.
That's just
don't let them run to first base.
Well, we don't have White Sox trainers. Yeah, we don't have White Sox trainers.
Don't run to first base. Jog.
Oh no!
And you'll be all right. Yeah, unless there's injuries, I don't see how this Cubs team doesn't at least compete for this division. It would be a shock to me. I mean,
I've seen this one. This is a classic.
I think you got the right read on it too. That it doesn't look like this team's gonna win. This isn't a championship team right now. But who knows what trades they have at the deadline? They definitely have a lot to pull from in the minors.
This is definitely a team I would not be surprised to see in the NLCS, though. I'd be surprised to see them win a World Series, but I would not be surprised to see them in the NLCS. This is a team that could win a playoff series for sure.
You get a stick and like you said, like maybe a closer, or you get a closer and a bona fide starter to go with Steele at the in July. which I think that's what they're setting up for, one of those two. Who knows? Somebody gets hot. You could do. Baseball is such a crapshoot. It's not as much a crapshoot as hockey, but it's a crapshoot.
It's definitely a crapshoot. Speaking of crapshoots, NBA playoffs coming up. Want to talk some Bulls?
And I just want to get through this before. Had this debate before, but yes, the baseball season's too long. It should be 140 games.
Yeah, I mean, look, is it too long? I mean, to me, no.
154 games.
I'm a baseball fan. I'm always disappointed when the baseball season ends. But if it was shorter, I wouldn't be heartbroken. As a matter of fact, if I became commissioner, it would be a 148 to 150 game season.
The game has changed. The game has changed a lot. All these guys are max effort pitching now. Even some of the way guys, hit now, it's not.
I would change the schedule up a little bit too, to just, I would have, scheduled double headers, and I would also have, at least once a month have it where a team has, a Wednesday and a Thursday off before a Friday game.
And Combs, plays the highlight before every show. Podsednik hitting a home run. It was raining and cold that night when he hit the home run in the World Series. And people go, oh, they could play football. They're not throwing 103 mile an hour pitches in football and trying to hit them. It's just not a sport that's conducive to cold weather. And if you can get another couple of weeks where you're playing, you start the playoffs mid-September, later September, it's better for the sport, I think. But
yeah, no, absolutely.
Because of the money.
But the Bulls, so playing game, they've got the Atlanta Hawks. So it's the way the basketball playoffs work. For those of you that don't know, 9 plays 10, and then the loser of that goes home, and then the winner plays the loser of the 7-8 game. The winner of the 7-8 game becomes the 7 seed. The loser plays the winner of the 9-10 game, and then the winner of that game becomes the 8 seed. So if the Bulls are to get past the Atlanta Hawks, they would play the loser of the Miami Heat versus Philadelphia 76ers. And then if they win that game, they would be in the 8 seed, and they would have to take on the Boston Celtics in round 1. So I actually I think that they're going to beat the Hawks, and I think they find a way to beat, I think the Heat beat the 76ers, and I think the Bulls find a way to beat the 76ers. And I think the Bulls end up in the first round of the playoffs playing against the Boston Celtics, and they lose 4 straight by 30 or more. That's what it is. They're good enough to beat some of these teams. They're not. Yeah. The Celtics are just they're on a different level. They're on a different planet.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I don't see a lot happening, and I agree. I hate the play-in tournament too. I don't think the Bulls should even have a chance here. But
no,
this is the playoffs for us. This is New Year's Eve. This is Christmas. This is the 4th of July. This is St. Patrick's Day, all wrapped into one buck. We don't get a lot of games. And Jeremiah is going to come in and go, this isn't playoff. This isn't the playoff. This is the best we got, Jeremiah.
They're 39 and 43. They don't belong in the playoffs.
This is the playoffs, God
They don't belong in the playoffs. They don't belong in the play-in game.
Seattle Seahawks made it to the playoffs at 7-9. Sure, the Bears beat them and went on to lose in the championship game to the Packers, but they were 7-9 and they made it. So the Bulls, this is the playoffs. This is the World Series. Stop taking things away from me.
They were a 7-9 team that won the division. At least in the West, the 10 seed is 46 and 36. They're 46 and 36 in the West. That's a 10 seed. So they deserve a play-in game. The Bulls are 9 games under 500. They don't deserve a playoff game. I mean, 7 games under 500, but still.
What else do we got? We have.
You don't deserve anything, Jerry.
Else.
You're giving more money to Jerry Reinsdorf. Is that what you want?
No, I don't. But the Bears lost 3 games, and there was like what a 0.00. There was like a 1% of a 1% of a 1% chance of them losing those 3 games, or else they would have been in the playoffs. The Cubs were 94% to make the playoffs. They didn't make it. The Sox,
at least they were still above 500.
The division. They lost 100 games.
The Bulls are 39-43.
We need something. I don't care. I want it now.
No.
Miami Heat. The Miami Heat last year was in a playoff game. Where did they end up? Where did their season end up?
You know what? I've changed my mind. I hope the Hawks spank the Bulls tomorrow.
They almost beat.
Who? Wait, what are you talking about?
The Miami Heat last year. They were in a playoff.
Yeah, they got hot, but they were in a play-in game at over 500. This team is 39-43. They don't deserve anything. They don't deserve to be in a play-in game. They need to be in. I wish the NBA would go to soccer and give us relegation and put the Bulls down to the WNBA.
Every day, I don't go on my little app and bet to see if Tiger Woods is going to have this much at the Masters. Is he going to have as many?
Maybe you should
swings as Ben Brown has pitches. I don't do that.
Well, maybe you should start.
Action, man. I need it so bad. I need action.
This isn't the action you're going to need because this team is really, really bad.
I like Kobe White.
Are you okay with them getting into the play-in game and then losing 4 straight games by 30 points to the Boston Celtics? You're okay with that? That's what you want to see.
I need something.
That's what you want to see.
I mean, what else could have? I mean, what? We have the 2021 White Sox.
Oh, God.
That's the last team that made the playoffs. What else are we going to do?
I mean,
we have a sports show, asshole.
The Bulls are not a part of that sports show. We don't talk about them, but once every 2-3 weeks.
We talk about
We try not to, though, because they're terrible.
Yeah,
that's why we don't talk about the Blackhawks right now. They're just terrible.
I'm like, no, we could just end the show.
Yes, we would rather end the show than talk Bulls.
I like Kobe White a lot. I like Kobe White.
I like Kobe White too.
Actually,
look, what do you think the Bulls? Let's look ahead. Let's look ahead because we're in agreement that even if they do win the 2 play-in games, that they're not beating the Celtics in a 7-game series, right? We're in agreement there.
This isn't the 2012 Bulls.
So let's look ahead to 2024, 2025. What do the Bulls need to do this offseason to be a playoff team, not a play-in team? What do the Bulls need to do?
They need to go back in time and trade Zach LaVine. And maybe trade DeMar DeRozan, I guess. When he was at the height of it. I guess they're getting Lonzo Ball back. I don't know who's hurt for 2 seasons and then comes back and is any good at basketball. I feel sorry for the kid, but that was a different team when Lonzo Ball was there. He could play defense, he could hit threes. He made them just good enough as a 3-point hitting team. And if Kobe got good at the same time, you could see in some weird, other universe that this team, could at least make a questionable run at it. But I don't see any way how this team gets better next year. I mean, in basketball, the machinations are different. The trades are different. The money has to match up. They have a very hard cap. It's not like other leagues where you can kind of move up a little bit quicker. It's a very slow process. They need somebody who takes chances. You know, talk about somebody, Danny Ainge, talk about the Celtics, talk about Danny Ainge, who took a lot of chances in a lot of different ways throughout his GM career, you know, and got Kevin Garnett together with Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and won a few championships, right? It's the same problem with a lot of these Chicago teams. And I'll even put the Bears in it until they show me. Until the Bears show me, they do not innovate. They are not at the front lines of what's happening. Now, the Cubs were nipping that here or there. They got to show me too. In the few years they did side with position players, and that looked like they were ahead of something there. And then the door got slammed, and it was like, oh, this is a pitching league now, assholes. And they did not see it coming. And I'm not picking on the Cubs. I think they're making the right moves, but I'm just saying the Sox are playing it like it's 2004. And you could just have scouts, and you have to have these entire armies of people to pick players, and it keeps happening over and over again. And it's happening with the Bulls now. They have a coach that is good to make you average. They have a GM that is good to keep you average. And yes, we've talked about Jerry Reinsdorf doing this on purpose, but it's still happening to a lot of these teams, and it's happening again and again and again. And until I see different, that's how I'm going to judge a lot of Chicago teams.
Look, I like Kobe White. I actually like Ayo DeSumo. You know, I don't want him being my number 2. But I think you need a good number 2. You've got to get rid of Zach LaVine. You got to eat the money, do whatever you got to do. You got to get Zach LaVine out of there. Make DeMar DeRozan your max player. Build around him and Kobe White. Maybe trade Vooch. Maybe trade Vucevic. Build around him, Kobe White, and you can have Alex Caruso on this team too. I like Alex Caruso a lot.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Yeah. So I mean, you're going to need an honest 2 that can score, and you're going to need a new center if you get rid of Vucevic. But you can do that. You can do that in the draft. I don't know where they're going to pick just yet. We'll find out when the draft lottery happens.
Bronny James is not happening.
No.
Bronny James is not happening.
Yeah, it's. I mean, no.
Come on, Buck.
And I don't want it to happen.
He's coming out though.
He is coming out, but Bronny James is a. Bronny James he's just another Alex Caruso. A good defender that can play the 3. I mean, that's basically what he is. And so
seems like it. I haven't seen a lot of them from what I've seen.
He can shoot a little bit better than LeBron. He's got a little bit of a better jump shot, but he's not a true number 2. The Bulls need a true number 2. They've already got a Bronny James and Alex Caruso. And so I don't know. WNBA draft's going on tonight.
Here we go.
We already saw Caitlin Clark got picked. The Sky are picking 8th. And rumor has it that Angel Reese is coming to the Chicago Sky. Are you
ready?
Are you excited about the WNBA? I'm looking right now. The Sky actually traded up to 7, and they are on the clock right now. Is that what I'm seeing? Give me a second here. Yep, they're on the clock right now. They traded up. Nope, they traded up. My guess is they're going to take Angel Reese right now. They just traded up to 7. Yes.
You just want to get lesbians on our show.
I looked at the WNBA mock draft for the first time in my life this past weekend.
Well, Caitlin Clark's turned it all around. I mean, 18 million viewers. If she was in baseball, though, what they would have done is taken her out of the NCAA tournament altogether, and you'd have 2 million viewers. Or if you had that.
That's very fair.
but Caitlin Clark, and if people don't know, the uninitiated, the Angels had Chanel, who's one of the players who hit safely in like 30 or 40 games to start his career, which was, going on a record. Didn't hit safely, but was on base safely, and they took away a base hit from him. That was obviously a base hit a week after he had it. But anyway, Caitlin Clark's there, 18 million viewers in that game, man.
Yeah.
Things change. This is, stuff like this does happen in sports where all of a sudden a sport. I mean, basketball was not.
Yeah. Well, the Sky actually traded up to 3 as well. And they got Camila Cardoso, the South Carolina center. And they just selected Angel Reese.
Oh, here we go.
So they just got Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso. I'm getting season tickets. You in?
Stop that.
What? You're not in for Sky season tickets?
Oh, no. No.
Chop my dick off.
Southside, stand up.
Why not?
You're gonna get me into the WNBA. Is that happening?
Oh, we're watching WNBA games. We're going to WNBA games.
I'll go to a WNBA game. Nicole will too. The wife.
We're getting season tickets. You and me. You going halves?
We're not getting season tickets to WNBA.
We're not going halves on season tickets.
Expensive, according to Buck. They're on sale for $100.
I mean, you win.
How many games do they play? 15? 20?
Something like that. You in?
Well played, you son of a bitch.
I'm not. No, I am not in, but I will go to a WNBA game this year. And we can talk a little bit WNBA, but I'm not going to really like it. I don't even really want to talk the Bulls. I did get lathered up a little bit. I was yelling a little bit. So another question. Can I say lesbian at Dave & Buster's in a week and a half?
I mean, are you calling somebody a lesbian, or are you talking about a story about somebody who is a lesbian?
In the sentence, Combs. Sometimes you act like a fucking lesbian who drives a Subaru Outback. Who drives a Subaru Outback and wears a fanny pack.
Yeah, that's not.
Let's be honest.
It's not going to be advised. Not going to be advised at all.
Have you heard of the platform Rumble? They're willing to
let's get ready to rumble.
WNBA will still be a bust. You know what I don't get about the WNBA?
I don't think it is a bust. I think it's actually going to be really good. I think they're going. I actually think that the play and the amount of talent and the parity in the league is going to be better than the NBA. It's going to be a better product than the NBA in 2 years.
What?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm telling you.
No way. The NBA is a lot bigger than you think it is. The NBA got out in front of a lot of marketing. I mean, they're a world sport where not even football is. I'm not sharing Shanna's comment. Okay, I will. Fitz wants a badge like his wife's. What in the hell?
What does that even mean?
I don't even know.
Is she trying to say you want to bump uglies? Is that what she's trying to say?
She watched too many episodes of Oprah or something. I don't know.
What is going on?
The wide open layup misses does it for me. You're right, Buck.
Good guy.
I've been told it's more fundamentally sound and a good watch for a baseball nerd like me. Okay. I'm not touching that, Jeremiah. It's too late in the show. But there's talent in basketball right now, in men's basketball right now. The amount of talent, just the sheer amount of players who can play the game. Judd Bushler isn't getting in this league right now.
If
Steve
Judd Bushler
Kerr
identifies as
isn't
a
getting in
woman,
this
he
league.
could get in that league.
Yeah, he could get into the WNBA, but Steve Kerr is not getting in this league now. There's a lot of players that played in the 90s when we were growing up that would not be in this NBA right now. You could say, yeah, in some ways, and I would agree with you that maybe the game isn't as fundamental as it was. The rules have changed too, but there's a lot of great players in the NBA right now.
I mean,
Does
there
cornhole
are.
rank higher than the WNBA?
Cornhole actually ranks higher than WNBA.
I don't know about that.
The WNBA is going to have a really good product, and the fact that we're going to see Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, having Angel Reese and Camila Cardosa in Chicago is going to be fun. It's going to be exciting to watch.
Bushler isn't walking through that door. No, I think it'll be fun. I mean, she can make it interesting. I mean, this is how sports start. I mean, the sports weren't that big. I mean, baseball itself wasn't that big before Magic and Bird, and then
Can't believe
after
you
that,
guys are
had
making
Jordan.
a joke of the WNBA. I'm done with you guys.
We're actually more
I've
making.
known you since you were a boy. So I think I have the requisite experience and insight to aver that you are and always have been